Far in the wild, unforgiving mountains of Montana, a gigantic rock wall has been discovered after being buried for millennia, a find that has caused waves in both the scientific world and the minds of individuals everywhere. The formation is rather remarkable. Blocks that weigh over 90 tons rest perfectly upright, odd knobs jut out of their surfaces like cryptic fingerprints, and the whole formation converges toward the winter solstice with an uncanny degree of accuracy. Others say it is mere chance, a freak result of nature's power that bears a resemblance to human architecture. Others speculate and wonder that it could be the only remaining evidence of a vanished civilization older than the pyramids themselves, something intentionally buried or covered up by the ground until this time. Why was such a building hidden for so long, and what remains beneath the surface, still to be unearthed? The enigma has become popular as the tale of the Sage Wall, the Montana giant in hiding. For centuries the building was hidden under dense woods, earth, and the relentless passage of time. There was no record of it on maps or in documents. Its rediscovery wasn't the feat of expert archaeologists supported by universities and museums but was initiated by two regular landowners, Christopher Borton and Linda Welsh. On their secluded ranch in far-off Montana, in the midst of woods and mountains, they resolved to clear a part of the woods that had grown up years ago, anticipating nothing but the matted roots, rocks, and dead trees characteristic of the region. Instead, what they discovered left them speechless: a giant rock wall, composed of granite blocks so huge, angular, and closely aligned that the appearance was beyond expectation. It was not a haphazard accumulation of rock, not a natural outcropping like so many in the Rockies. It appeared to be engineered, deliberate, a gigantic barrier built with precision in an area where such a structure shouldn't be. The exposed portion of the wall ran approximately 275 feet long, with sections reaching almost 25 feet high above ground. Subsequent research indicated another 15 feet of the wall could be still buried in earth, so the actual height could approach 40 feet, a structure of monumental proportions when viewed in its overall form. Individual blocks were estimated to weigh as much as 91 tons each, the same as more than 60 mid-size cars. Placed end to end, the wall would come close to being as long as a football field. And yet each stone seemed fitted close against the one beside it with hardly a gap at all, the alignment so exact that it seemed intentional, as if some secret builder had been out to construct an unbroken and flawless wall of stone. What impressed many who first examined the wall was not merely its enormous size but its geometry. Granite, the stone from which the wall is constructed, is created deep beneath the earth as slowly cooling magma hardens into stone. When it finally weathers and cracks, it never, or scarcely ever, breaks into neat cubes or blocks with clean-cut edges. It shatters into rough shards, diagonal cracks, and jagged, unpredictable angles. But here was something quite different: huge polygonal blocks with sharp edges and straight sides, looking as though cut on purpose. It was reminiscent not of geology but of architecture, of man-made design. To the eye, it was unmistakable: this looked like stonework. Could nature replicate the type of craftsmanship usually ascribed to human hands, or was there a different explanation? The analogies were instantaneous and striking. Only a few locations throughout the world have stonework of this sort: the fortress walls of Sacsayhuaman in Peru, the Cyclopean walls of ancient Greece, specific megalithic complexes in Japan, or the bizarre polygonal blocks in Turkey and Egypt. They are all the work of human hands, frequently hands using methods we no longer completely comprehend. But nowhere in Montana did any civilization quarry, cut, and haul stones of this magnitude. The find set traditional history into turmoil. If true, it implied that the American backcountry was once home to a culture of incredible ability and aspiration, one that could accomplish feats equal to the most remarkable ancient masters around the globe. Compounding the enigma were the knobs. These projections, little rounded bumps on otherwise smooth faces of stone blocks, exist on almost every megalithic site on the planet, from Peru's towering walls to Egypt's temples and even ones in India and China. Their purpose is still a mystery, but speculations include everything from construction handles to symbolic identification. To find them in Montana, on stones allegedly broken naturally, is disconcerting. Was this amazing geological coincidence? Or was it a sign that the Sage Wall was once part of a worldwide tradition of construction, one so ancient that it crossed continents before history set out to document such a connection? For landowners Borton and Welsh, the find was baffling. The wall had long been shrouded in nature's disguise, dense soil, centuries of woods fallen across its surface, coverings of leaves. It was only by slow clearing that the full extent of the wall appeared, a concealed monument revealed. While geologists were quick to designate it a natural fracture system, others found it difficult to dismiss the intuition that something more was involved. The magnitude, alignment, and features of the wall did not easily fit any categorization. Might this be the remains of a lost civilization that has been lost to the ages, wiped away by cataclysms and forgotten migrations? Might it be a portion of a greater complex still buried under the Montana wilderness? Or was it actually a natural wonder that simply looked as if it had been created by human hands? Michael Collins, the YouTube channel Wandering Wolf creator, was among the first to thoroughly document the wall. His video revealed the eerie precision of the blocks, the odd knobs that stuck out like ancient fingerprints, and cup marks etched into the rock, small round cavities that are some of the oldest examples of rock art in the world. Such marks crop up in Europe, Asia, and South America, frequently associated with ritual or astronomy, and their occurrence in Montana challenged tough questions. Collins also noted grooves and channels carved into the rock that appeared to be for water flow, and even pieces of debris that bore resemblance to architectural pieces from Egypt's Karnak temple complex. The more that was documented, the more the Sage Wall began to resemble something other than geology, specifically the remnants of a lost monument. Hype was added when Dr. Samir Osmanagic, the controversial scientist behind the theory of the Bosnian pyramid, came to Montana. He determined the wall was man-made, oriented specifically to the winter solstice, a common alignment of many prehistoric megalithic structures like Stonehenge. Osmanagic took it a step further, placing the wall as older than the last ice age's end, thus more than 11,700 years old. If accurate, that would make its construction prior to Göbekli Tepe in Turkey, the location most widely recognized with changing our history of how early civilization developed. Such a chronology would suggest the presence of an advanced civilization in North America far earlier than traditional history acknowledges anything of the kind. At that time, mainstream archaeology believes the Americas were home to limited populations of nomadic hunter-farmers, not to engineers able to hoist 90-ton stones into large walls. The position of the wall is inciting. During the Ice Age, Montana was sandwiched between two huge ice sheets, the Cordilleran in the west and the Laurentide in the east. The region was an important corridor for migrations across the continent, a funnel that ancient people would have passed through. It is also located close to rivers that flow into three separate oceans, a geographical peculiarity that might have made it a center of ancient habitation or commerce. And the region is heavy with minerals, such as one of the largest quartz crystals ever discovered in Montana. Was the Sage Wall constructed here intentionally, as a ceremonial location, a trade center, or even a fortress protecting this strategic area in the earliest human migrations? Doubters, though, resist firmly. Montana contains the boulder batholith, a massive underground granite structure formed tens of millions of years ago. Through millions of years, tectonic pressure broke up the granite, and erosion revealed blocky patterns that look like masonry. Geologists contend that the Sage Wall conforms to this natural template. The joints are uninterrupted from top to bottom, as opposed to actual masonry where blocks would be staggered to maintain strength. The knobs, they contend, are merely tougher minerals withstanding erosion. That there are no cultural artifacts, no pottery, tools, or carvings, favors the geological interpretation. If humans actually constructed this wall, there would be evidence of their handiwork still present. To skeptics, Sage Wall is a dramatic but natural occurrence, one that looks no different from any of the other geological formations that have been mistaken for architecture worldwide. But the anomalies persist. Ground-penetrating radar shows that the wall goes on underground, with what could be a platform or a foundation underlying it, a characteristic that is very rare in natural rock. Tests have shown magnetic properties strong enough to hold magnets against the surface, suggesting either unusual mineral concentrations or deliberate selection of stone. And across Montana, other structures collectively called the Montana megaliths, such as the Tyser dolmen and Pipestone walls, bear uncanny resemblance to megalithic traditions worldwide, further fueling speculation that this is more than coincidence. If the Sage Wall is indeed artificial, its implications are staggering. It would imply that North America had had a civilization skilled enough to create monuments, one whose output is equal to Peru, Egypt, or Turkey. It would be an indication that history itself is not as it is presented, that prior to the close of the Ice Age and prior to recorded civilization, man in America was constructing on a huge scale in stone.